May we ask our embassies in the UAE, in Bahrain, that in Kuwait, that are online, kamusta naman po kayo dyan at ang mga sitwasyon ng ating mga kababayan dyan at kayo din? Ambassador?
From Abu Dhabi, Philippine Embassy, Abu Dhabi.
Sige po, go ahead po.
Together with the Consul General Ambo Inciso in Dubai. So thank you for this opportunity. UAE now has the largest Filipino OFW in the region. Na lampasan na namin na Saudi. It's almost 1 million now. And as you know, Dubai is now the center of tourism, business in the region, and even the world. No? So, but going into this situation now, one peculiar thing is it has received the most number of projectiles, drones, missiles, more than the combined total of all the missiles launched into the other countries from Iran. So, but ang maganda dyan is 95% intercepted, very efficient with their Patriot and THAAD missile anti-missile batteries. They have constant fighter jets providing cover. Even Apache helicopters can neutralize those slower drones. And yun na nga, the almost over 1,800. But the thing is, since March 4, we've launched from Dubai via Emirates Airlines. They have restored their flights, and since March 4, they've restored 13 flights already. Over 5,000 ay nakauwi. Yung mga nakabook, mga stranded, tapos nasisingitan din ng mga OFWs doon as long as there's space available. As we speak now, there's in a few minutes, Etihad Airlines EY440 is arriving with 263 Filipinos, yung mga na-stranded din na post-vacationing and returning tourists. But generally, as you may have seen from the posts of the Filipinos here, everything is stable, everything is calm, economy is continuously moving, stock market is open, workers are doing work from home, schools are doing distance learning. We in the embassy have normal operations, and yun nga po, aside from dun sa missing Filipino seaman, and despite the large number of projectiles that have been hurled to the UAE, we've only had 2 minor injuries. Yung isa, si Christine nakauwi na nung isang flight. Her family asked her to come home after being here for just 4 months. Her employer's house suffered some damage from a drone attack, and may naapakan siya mga bubog. So she was treated right there on site, cleared, and then she has to go home, and we were able to bring her home last Sunday. The other one is another person in Dubai. May some debris and some shrapnel, so he's still being treated, but he has been discharged and he will go back. I spoke to him yesterday, and members of our consulate and the MWO also provided assistance. They visited him, and they will continue providing until the full treatment is completed. But that is the general sentiment here. The calm, the stability. His Excellency the President has spoken with the President, his counterpart here, the President of the UAE, and they've expressed our solidarity with the country and thanking them for the protection that is being given to our Filipinos here and to the over 200 nationalities that are here. And Filipinos are very confident and very safe and secure in this protection that they're getting. And but nonetheless, we are prepared, and we'll continue to with the resumption of the flights, Emirates has said they'll now be able to restore 70 to 80% of their global network. So at least there's a return to normalcy. And I just had another alert, which I received over the phone, a text alert. But aside from that, it's like a typical Ramadan morning here, a typical morning actually, not just because of the Ramadan season. And hopefully we're looking forward humupa na rin, and but we continue our lines of communication. We issued another advisory yesterday on the update on the situation, but patuloy pa rin naman ang buhay dito, at we are just reiterating our call to our kababayans here to stay safe, listen only to official advice and sources, and minimize unnecessary movement, and just keep yourself posted. And if our emails, WhatsApp channels, Facebook, social media, open po yan. So yun lang po, and we're very thankful for the protection and safety being guaranteed by the UAE government. Thank you very much.
Maraming salamat po, Ambassador, at sa lahat po ng ginagawa ninyo para sa ating mga kababayan. Thank you so much. Is our ambassador in Israel there online? Alam ko nasa bomb shelter po kayo. Kamusta po kayo dyan?
Magandang umaga po, Madam Chair, Mr. Chair, Your Honor. Katatapos lang po ng 2 alerts dito. So, bumalik na po kami dito sa Crisis Monitoring Center po natin. On the part of Israel po, we are still in a state of emergency, and there is very limited mobility. Schools are not yet open, and the Israeli government has consistently informed the public to always stay near a shelter. Shelters are available throughout the country, and in many of the buildings they have bomb shelters also, or community centers that can be, or even parking lots that can be used as that doubles up as bomb shelters. The airport there are very limited flights, and these are normally flights flown by Israeli owned airlines that actually bring in Israelis from different parts of the world. We are trying to get some seats here kasi if they fly in, some Israelis, definitely the planes would have to go back out. So we are working with the Israeli government and trying to get the remains of Mary Ann to be on board one of those flights, as well as the husband. We hope that we will be able to do this within this week, or even before this week ends, and I hope we can get them both back to the Philippines. There are a lot of fake news that we monitor, actually. Some fake news are being said. They say that the Tel Aviv is leveled off, that there are a lot of areas that are heavily damaged. I'd like to inform the committee that this is not necessarily the truth. There are certain areas that were impacted on, and like my colleague Ambassador Ver was saying, they are in the receiving brunt of Iran. We only so far, and hopefully this is the last, we only have 1 casualty. There are no other reports of injuries. For us here in Israel, life goes on. It's I cannot say it's stable, but life goes on. And we will continue to bring out our kababayans. Right now, we have identified the Taba border crossing with Cairo as the most efficient way to bring out our kababayans who would like to be repatriated. And this is in partnership with our embassy in Cairo. If there will be more flights available through Amman, then we will explore the possibility of bringing them over via the Allenby crossing. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Maraming salamat po. Marami pa po kaming katanungan and gusto ho namin na ma-update sa sitwasyon nyo dyan. Tatawag na lang po ako sa inyo, Ambassador. Maraming salamat po.
Before we proceed, I would like to gusto ko po kamustahin ang ating mga embahada dyan po sa Bahrain at sa Kuwait. Alam po namin na kanina pa po kayo naghihintay po dyan. We'd like to ask on status on what's happening in your areas. Do we have anyone from Kuwait?
Mr. Chair, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Pastor Galiaga from Bahrain. Yes, I'd just like to report that we're more or less fine here, as also reported by Ambassador Baer. It's more or less stable, except for the attacks from Iran, mainly missiles and drones. But there is economic activity that's going on, and of course, there are few Filipinos who've been displaced because in areas that are being targeted more frequently than others. But the government of Bahrain has been quite well prepared. On the second day of this war, they gathered all the members of the diplomatic corps for a briefing. They told us about the preparations. They have stockpiled food, water, medicines. I just cannot disclose for how long, but it is a substantial period that they have been prepared for this. There are redundancies in power, telecommunications as well. So there's been no power interruptions. The internet is up. We can communicate. Though there are some businesses that have closed, and this has affected Filipinos. So part of our work is ensuring that they're fine. We visited 8 shelters. We go around, sometimes even go house to house already. The only difference here is when we say shelters, it's just shelters away from the area. There are no bomb shelters, so to speak. Very few basements, if any, usually parking basements. And so it's basically just shelter in place, no that. But the Bahraini government has been very supportive, very generous. They provide food for those in the shelters. And the defense has been quite effective as well. Ang difference lang here kasi sa Bahrain is very small. It's only 1.2 times larger than Metro Manila. It's very compact. It's coastal. So kahit malayo yung interception or yung putok, you feel that it's nearby. So I can understand some people's apprehension and anxiety. And actually, we held advisories, and the other night it was useful that the ministry gave an clarification. Kasi minsan, we hear these explosions, may siren, pero minsan walang siren. But they explained that kung meron siren, that means the interception occurred over Bahraini territory. Kung walang siren, that means it was intercepted outside the territory. Pero kahit na-intercept yan outside the territory and over the sea, malakas pa rin because of the geography of Bahrain. And also, minsan, since maliit yung Bahrain, hindi rin gaano kalayo yung defense nila yung interceptor missiles, they are supersonic. They create a sonic boom. So, minsan, yung sonic boom ng interceptor, napagkakamalan na may explosion na malapit lang. Though actually the interception, of course, tens of thousands of meters above the air or outside the territory. So, yun lang. But so we try to talk to the community leaders, hope to para to allay people's fears. Of course, they still need to be mindful and avoid not unnecessary travel or anything. And then we'll see. So for us here sa Bahrain, the way I told them to look at the situation, the war is ongoing. But as far as Bahrain is concerned, it depends on the frequency and intensity of the attacks that Iran is capable of doing to Bahrain. So compared to the first few days of the war, the frequency and intensity has already decreased. Ang problema lang, nung mas intense yung bombardment sa start of the war, more or less ma-predict mo they were targeting the US base, the Navy base here. Unfortunately, the past few days, though lesser na yung frequency, they've been targeting strategic civil infrastructure, such as the refinery and water desalination plants. and a few civilian buildings. No, I think there were 2 hotels and 4, I think, na residential buildings that were kind of targeted. Though debris lang naman, it was debris that mostly caused the injuries. So far, there's 2 deaths, 47 injuries, no Filipinos among them, considering that it has been constant. So that is one indicator metric here to determine whether of how the situation is unfolding, decreasing, and we will see over the next few weeks if Iran's capability to send missiles or drones towards Bahrain decreases. In terms of the safety and security of our kababayans here, it will improve. Of course, the other factor is the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, because Bahrain is 70% of Bahrain's goods come through by sea, tinatransship sa UAE. So if it goes longer, supplies, if there will be effect, then the problem is perhaps maybe kung na-address yung safety and security issue, if the Strait of Hormuz is closed, the problem becomes more economic or socio-economic. No? Tataas yung bilihin, supplies and will be scarce. Though for the immediate near term, may stockpiles naman that Bahrain has prepared, so it should be fine. So we're closely monitoring the developing situation and we will update accordingly, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ambassador, for the update. I would like to ask kamusta naman ang ating mga OFWs dyan po sa Bahrain. Lahat po ba ng mga pangangailangan nila na-address po ba natin?
We try to address as much as possible. Anyway, sir, because iba-iba naman, no? So we try to prioritize those who are in need, because the government naman, to their credit, helps those, especially sa shelters, no? But others naman, their companies, for example, sponsor them to, lalo na kung if they were living in a danger zone, kumpanya mismo nila yung nag-relocate sa kanila, no? I think yung challenge lang is yung those whose employers na nag-close, no? But in that regards, we distributed more than 1,700 na mga 8 packs, then I think 1,400 na financial assistance. And I would also like, sir, to credit yung Filipino community here. Kanina, Chair, yung nagtanong ka about personnel. We're augmented by NGOs. I will specifically name 2, Good Cause and yung mga guardians na mga grupo here. They help us sa mga pag-pack ng relief goods. Tapos, as noted by Second, it's Ramadan, so gabi kami umiikot, no? Pag mag-distribute ng food, kasama din sila. Then, some Filipino entrepreneurs here who have restaurants, nagdo-donate ng food, kahit naapektuhan din sila because business might be kind of slow. So, bayanihan kami dito at tulong-tulungan with the community. Yun lang po. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador. It's nice to know na nagtutulungan-tulungan po ang mga kapwa Pilipino natin dyan para makatulong pa sa mga iba natin, mga kababayan. Maraming salamat po. Up next, I would like to ask for an update from the Embassy of Kuwait. Ambassador, you're now recognized.
Yes. Good morning, Honorable Chair. I'm Jose Cabrera, the Ambassador here in Kuwait. I'm happy to report that our Filipinos here are doing well. Kuwait has been under substantial strikes from Iran. Actually, as of yesterday, it's estimated that Kuwait received at least 628 threats, from missiles and drones. 221 missiles and 407 drones. Most of these were intercepted, and only a few actually struck their targets, which are mostly military facilities operated by the United States. There have been a number of deaths, about 14, which includes the 6 American servicemen who died at the Port Shuaiba on last week, and 4 civilians and 4 Kuwaiti military personnel. There are about 100 injured, but mostly minor, This includes one Filipina who was working at the airport when it was struck by a drone. She sustained a very, very superficial injuries and was released after treatment. The targets were the major military bases of the Americans, which is Ali Al Salem Air Base, Camp Arif Jan, and Camp Buring. But there is no report to the extent of the damage, but for civilian infrastructure, the damage has also been somewhat light. There was some damage at the Kuwait International Airport, at one government building, and a little damage to some oil infrastructure, but most of this damage actually comes from debris, from interception of drones and missiles. As with the injuries, most of the injuries were caused by interception of drones and missiles, with the debris falling on people. So only one Filipino was injured here in Kuwait. And the situation here is that food stocks there are no shortages of food and water. There's no problem with electricity and water. There's no problem with gasoline supply, diesel supply. There's no problem with telecommunications, internet. Everything is moving fine. Of course, many of our kababayans were apprehensive during the first few days, and but most have come to realize that the safety measures that have been implemented by Kuwait are more than adequate. They have actually protected the people here, considering that they have been able to defend themselves very well, and has minimized. They have minimized casualties and damage to infrastructure. The embassy reached out to the Filipino community to determine who among them would like to avail of voluntary repatriation or assistance. And as of yesterday, we have 4,300 Filipinos have registered to seek assistance. About 2,690 of these indicated that they would like to avail of voluntary repatriation if that is available, while 1,611 requested other forms of assistance, mainly financial. Dun po sa voluntary repatriation, we are now contacting all of those who registered to determine kung talagang they want to push through with this, and as soon as arrangements are made, we will begin to bring them home. But most of this, I think, include OFWs who are displaced in the sense that natapos na yung kontrata nila, or wala na silang trabaho for a while, or they're actually planning to go on vacation, pero because of the closure of the airspace, hindi sila natuloy. So this is not actually businesses are going on as usual, so wala namang mga Pilipino masyadong nawala ng trabaho. Most are still working normally, life is going on normally. And we give the usual assistance. Itong ginagawa nating welfare and repatriation assistance is the same assistance that we extend normally during regular operations. And as for the Kuwaiti government, they have been quite effective in managing the situation. There are always safety advisories, emergency sirens. The warning system in Kuwait is very, very good, and they make sure that advisories or instructions to the public are issued not just in Arabic but also in English and in Filipino also. So accessible po yung information sa mga Filipinos. The main focus is at the moment is to maintain order. Walang gulo, walang panic, and also to prevent the spread of disinformation and sinasabing fake news. There have been several arrests for people who have been violating these guidelines against spreading fake news, and wala namang Pilipino po doon, pero other nationalities and some Kuwaitis have been detained for doing that. The use of drones now is not allowed, and taking videos and photos of intercepts and yung mga affected sites is not allowed. I'm open to questions if the Honorable Chair and the committee have any.
All right, thank you, Ambassador.
Thank you.
I'd just like to clarify, tama po ba 2,600 nag-request po ng voluntary repatriations?
Yun po ang nag-register, 2,690 po
Is
as of
the-
yesterday.
Okay po. Thank you po, sir.